Hey everyone, and welcome to the post-race chat of the Bwoah Racing League Season 4 Italian GP. We've got our podium finishers with us, P1 KayyDeeeBeee, P2 RBFeralo, and P3 BigManJoe. Let's start off with BigManJoe, driver of the day as well, P16 to P3, and possibly even higher had it been a bit longer perhaps. But how did the race go overall for you, BigManJoe?
A bit longer. No, it's always the laps are always fixed, right? So P3 is the best I could have done given the circumstances. Qualifying was where everything went wrong because I wanted to set the lap on the mediums. So I just went out on the softs, just did a banker, but then the gap between the softs and the mediums was crazy. I thought I would be able to improve, but I was pushing so hard on the mediums. The soft lap was on a lean and hot lap, and the mediums was on full, the maximum engine mode and hot lap, and I still couldn't beat that time, which was a 20.7, which was very surprising. So that was P16. So I had a lot of work to do. But then, of course, going into turn one, gaining 6 positions up to P10, then it was about slowly gaining the positions. And I knew that the alternate strategy was pretty strong in terms of towards the end, the delta between the old mediums and the softs will be pretty big. I'll be closing and at around 2 seconds a lap. So I closed in, and of course, everyone in front, they had a big gap, but a lot of penalties, right? So that put me in the shot for top 5. And there was one point where I was within, I think RB had 6 seconds, and I was under 6 seconds for just a certain period of time. I thought, okay, I would gain RB's place and UK's place, but then, of course, towards the end, even my tires were dropping off. So yeah, P3 in the end was a really good result. I don't think, I think I was going for top 5 would have been what I was thinking in the moment, but then top 3 in the end was really, really good. So yeah.
But your theory about the league of starting from the back and finishing on the podium, it seems to be becoming truer race on race. You did end up like not setting a lap time earlier on in one of the qualifying sessions, and I felt clearly I was wrong after what I heard from you, what you actually went through in qualifying. I felt that you perhaps wanted to qualify lower.
No, actually, I wanted to qualify upfront, but of course, kind of screwed up in qualifying. And yeah, regarding the starting from the back and making it up, it's more of trying to do a different strategy. It's not that I'm trying to avoid anyone or any incidents. It's more of, hey, if you can qualify front, well and good, start at the front and you can disappear away. But if you feel that you're going to get stuck in the midfield, then maybe in that case starting from the back is more advantageous. It's something I wouldn't do for every track now. It's a matter of confidence on each track and seeing realistically where I could qualify. So I think where Honig was around P11. So I think ideally starting on the mediums with P11 would have been really good, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. RBFeralo, you had a good race, P2, obviously, and possibly closer to the win yet again, and didn't get it. But you are still in the title fight. How did the race go for you? Tell us.
Starting from P5, I was expecting a podium, but Winwood had been very great. So at one point, I thought General Pepe was far away, so there was no chance. But after he spun, then yeah, I was catching KayyDeeeBeee and UK because they were fighting each other. So by every lap, I was like gaining 3 to 4 tenths. But then in the end, KayyDeeeBeee was the faster one, so he got the win.
Fair enough. And with KayyDeeeBeee closing in on General Pepe in the title fight, what's going on in your head going into the next couple of races? Because it seemed like with KayyDeeeBeee, mostly going to turn up to most of the races coming up. You'll have to give it all the more the effort.
Obviously, I'll have to like qualify ahead. Qualifying is my very weak spot. So I think I perform a lot better in races. But if I start qualifying ahead, maybe I can like battle out with KayyDeeeBeee and General Pepe.
Cool. And then, of course, KayyDeeeBeee. Clearly, you were running in the podium positions, but it was that spin and the fact that General Pepe lost his end plate, that mistake he made, even though 24 laps of his was almost close to perfect, that clearly gave you that much of an advantage, closed that gap that existed, and you were able to take the fight to him. How was the race overall? And then we'll move on to that incident of General Pepe's.
Oh yeah, overall I think the race was pretty much perfect for me. Didn't get a single even a little bit of damage. Had impeccable front wing throughout the entire race. Didn't have any problems with tire wear. Got a few more penalties than I would have liked, but it was all good in the end because I did end up P1 after all. So yeah, amazing race, and I think like it's probably been like one of the best battles I've ever had on track, and it was with UK. For about I think about 5 or 6 laps, from about lap 16, 17 to lap 22 or 21. It was amazing. Probably the best battle I've had all season. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable race.
Great. A question from Gouts, so clearly I can say it however it is. How did it feel to pass Pepe on track and wave him goodbye?
Oh yeah, it was funny. Actually, I was having a lot of internet issues on that day, and so everybody was like, every few laps, people would just teleport around me. So I had no idea where everyone was exactly on track. So when I saw General Pepe on the side of the track and a yellow flag, I thought it was a glitch. So I ignored it. I just kept going, and then I mean, slowly by slowly, he didn't come back. Like, so what would happen is if somebody teleports and goes off track or something, they would teleport back in front of me to their original position when the game syncs up. But that didn't happen. So it took about half a lap for it to sink in. But then I was pretty stoked to see. I mean, it's obviously very bad and unfortunate for him, but I was pretty stoked to see myself move up to P1 so easy.
This was a question from Gouts to everyone. So, RB, BigManJoe?
It was very weird towards the end because he was very close to me, right, in the last few laps of lap 27. And I could understand, okay, he would have spun around somewhere, but I wasn't sure if he had damage or not. So after Lesmo 1 and 2, we both of us were side by side, and he had almost 8 seconds of penalty. I didn't have anything, and he was defending that like crazy. So I couldn't understand what was going on. So I said, okay, fine, let him by. He went ahead in Ascari and he was ahead again. Then going into Parabolica, again, he was defending so much. So I let him have the inside. And then, of course, he just went wide because he didn't have a wing. So I just slotted in and got that place as well. So, yeah, very unfortunate for him. But, of course, all of us were there to reap those results. Yeah.
RB?
I think I would just pick up the points of whatever the faster guys lose. So that's what my point of view is. So basically, it would only close the points in the championship table. So yeah, lucky points. Maybe I was about to get P3, but then P2 is fine. That's what I.
One last thing about this race. Clearly, BigManJoe, you went on the alternate strategy and not something everyone chose, but it clearly worked out for you. And a few of the drivers were surprised by it. Can you talk us through why you decided to go with it?
Yeah, I touched on it a bit. I think soft to mediums, if you qualify up front, yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go. And if you want to do something different, medium to soft was definitely viable, but it depended on no safety cars coming out, which it didn't. Because I think if the safety car did come out, then I would have been shafted. I would have lost all the positions again there. But yeah, like once I shifted onto the softs, the delta between both tires is huge. So I think RB was doing around mid 23s and I was closing in around mid 21s, right? So everyone on the mediums were doing around that time, and of course there was a lot of gap to gain, but I think eventually it did work out. I don't think starting from P16, I don't think I expected P3. I think P5, 6, 7 was in the cards, but then everyone parking it into turn 1 or lap 1 was where I gained most of the positions. So it worked really well. I didn't think it would have done the same because there were others as well who did that. I think Honig did the same, Accelerate did the same, and they didn't get as many positions. So Yeah, it worked pretty well. Yeah.
Great. And on the note that RBFeralo brought up, the championship, of course, KayyDeeeBeee, you're 1 point away from equaling General Pepe in the championship run so far. Going into the next couple of races, goals will be the same, I presume, which is given your everything going into a race weekend. But you'll lead the constructors title as well. So tell me, how has it been going with Sicknick? Because he seems to be improving race on race.
Yeah. His watching his progress has been incredible. Like from when he got the wheel to him switching over from controller. It's like his climb, his skill level, his increase in skill throughout these races has been like amazing to watch. And I did sort of jokingly say that we will probably end up winning the constructors titles once Sicknick got his wheel. And it seems like it's coming true. So I'm really looking forward to it. Maybe the constructors will be a bit more easier to achieve, but getting the driver's title, especially going up against Pepe, will be a bit more difficult. But I'm looking forward to the races coming ahead.
All right, great. On the note of teammates, of course, RBFeralo, your teammate Rustinish had a bit of a hiccup again, and he keeps having those hiccups at the race start. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I don't know, man. Like, he's being very unlucky every race, getting hit at lap 1, something. So he's like pitting after 1 or 2 laps and then automatically out of the fight. And then there is like no contribution to the constructors from his side. So I would expect my team principal to work much harder. That's what I can say right now. But let's see. If Nishte puts some good laps for qualifying and all, so maybe we can challenge KayyDeeeBeee and Sicknick.
Yep, I'm sure everybody hopes to see that challenge. All right, boys. Thank you for coming by, and cheers. See you again next race.